Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Desktop Ball, the only show where I sit at my desktop and talk ball. Today is Friday, October 18th. It is actually literally Friday, October 18th when I'm recording this because I enjoyed a few glasses of wine with Thursday Night Football tonight, and I maybe stayed up a little later than I should have, and I maybe, am a little not as mentally sharp per se as maybe some would prefer to do a football podcast. But we're here. We're gonna do some football podcasting, and I cannot wait to get into it. I've got a tall glass of water here with me. If you don't mind, please, I'm begging you, please like the video, share it with a friend, subscribe to the channel, find me on TikTok, and leave a comment. However you want to, support the channel, do it in your way. But I'm more than happy to have you, more than happy to have your support, and extremely grateful for it. Um, Looking to grow the channel, not necessarily looking to make it a career. Would it be sick? Yeah, it'd be sick. Is it going to happen? No, probably not. I mean, I'm realistic as well, but I love doing this. I hope you love watching, and I'm going to keep it pushing. That being said, we've got a big weekend of NFL football. I'm really looking forward to it. Even bigger weekend of college football, arguably. And it starts unfortunately, with an absolute snoozer of NFL Thursday Night Football. Let's pull it up. We had the Broncos go to New Orleans and just beat the absolute shit out of the Saints. There's really no other way to talk about it. Finally, the Broncos had a run game, which was a big thing that was missing from their offense. And you heard Al Michaels, who we'll get to Al Michaels. You heard Al Michaels talking about it and Kirk Herbstreit talking about it. It's a big thing that was missing for this Broncos team, frankly, is the ability to run the football. They were very reliant on the passing attack, which worked for Bo Nix at Oregon, but it's not the way that I mean, it's a run first league. It's become a run first league, especially with the trend of two high safeties. Um, you need to be able to run the ball to force a safety to come down. And if you can't run the ball and force a safety to come down, you're going to have a miserable time, especially with a rookie quarterback. Finally, the Broncos are able to get a good run game. They just absolutely dominated the Saints. Spencer Rattler, I thought looked okay for the Saints. I mean, not great, but like fine. And I was half watching this game, honestly, and half watching baseball because I'm a big Mets fan, and maybe we'll get to the Mets too, depending on how I'm feeling mentally towards the end of this show. But the Mets are pitiful. We'll get to that. But yeah, I mean, just not really a ton to talk about here. I mean, the Broncos are the better team. They manhandled the Saints. I picked the Broncos in this game, which you'll see in my pick 'em here. If you look on the right here, you'll see that Denver was a 2.5 point favorite, and New Orleans, 65% of people on Yahoo was picking the Saints in this game. And I get it. Like they looked really good at the start of the year, and I'm not a big Bo Nix believer. I'm not a big Denver believer. But their defense is legit. It's been legit. And even without Pat Surtain tonight, their defense was very, very good. Sean Payton's a very good coach. He's definitely a better coach than Dennis Allen. And, when push comes to shove, pick the team with the better coach, the better defense, especially when you don't know what to think about either quarterback. A lot of the times you would think push comes to shove, pick the better quarterback. And I understand that, but even then, I'd probably take Bo Nix over Spencer Rattler. At least that's what people did in the draft. So Denver gets a solid win, a win I expected them to get. They were favored in that game, but let's get into the rest of the NFL weekend. It's gonna be a good one. There's a few really exciting matchups. The first one is unfortunately not exciting. It's in London, and you've got the Jacksonville Jaguars hosting, and that's hosting in air quotes because it's in London, the New England Patriots. Now, I talked about how I wanted Drake May to sit for this year, but by golly, by Jesus Lord, when I watched that tape, I saw Drake May look like an absolute fucking baller. It's a fact. Drake May's legit. I was high on him coming into the year. I thought it was surprising that Jaden Daniels went over him. And now, obviously, like, I don't know ball sufficiently apparently because Jaden Daniels is playing his out of his fucking mind. But that being said, I think Drake May has a real chance to have the best career of the quarterbacks that were drafted in this class. And that's saying a lot because I think Caleb is going to have an awesome career, and Jaden Daniels clearly is going to have a good career. At least is having an awesome year. I think Drake May could be the best of the bunch. I really do. And I've been thinking it. Uh, I've been thinking it for a while. Give me New England over the Jaguars. 5.5, I think, is so many points. I might take them to win the game outright. Frankly, I'm shocked by this spread. I can't believe it's as big as it is. Maybe I just don't know. Like maybe I just am missing something. But I think that the Patriots with Drake May, I think they're going to have some life. And the Jaguars, I mean, the Jaguars are decrepit. They have been just absolutely awful. Um, they got punked by the Bears last week in London, and Doug Peterson probably is not going to survive the season. I'd be very surprised if he did. All right, enough on that one. The Atlanta Falcons are hosting the Seattle Seahawks. They're giving 3 points. The Atlanta Falcons 3-point favorite over the Seahawks. It's a bird matchup. Always fun when the bird teams face each other. Uh, Me personally, I'm gonna grab a quick swig of water here, and we'll get into this game. Sorry. Uh, Dehydrated. That's what happens when you have a couple glasses of wine. You get dehydrated. Fun fact, if you don't know that. Um, I like the Falcons in this game. It's hard for me to trust the Seahawks when their defense has looked as bad as it has in recent weeks. Um, just over and over allowing 30 plus points. And the Falcons have shown an ability to score plenty of points. So, I mean, given those two things, I don't know what the over under is in this game, but I'd probably take the over. I think honestly, I bet the over is undefeated in Seahawks games. Let's see if we can find it here. Did I just scroll by it? Yeah, I did. Um, 51 and a half is the total. So like, what is that? 27, 24. You need more than 27, 24. So you need 28, 24, basically. Um, yeah, I would take the over in this game for sure. I think lock of the millennium, if you're a bettor, and this is not financial advice. I'm pretty sure you have to disclose that legally. This is not financial advice, but the over in Falcons Seahawks is the lock of a generation. I would sprint, not financial advice. I would sprint to take out 6 mortgages and put it all on that. Not financial advice. Not financial advice. Bills Titans. Give me the Bills in that one. I don't care that it's 9 points. 9 points is a lot of points for sure, but do you, I, I could see the Bills winning this game 30-7. So to me, the point spread is almost, I'm not really even worried about it. Yes, the Titans do play pretty good defense. I don't know whether they're planning on starting Will Levis this week. I'm pretty sure they are. I haven't heard otherwise. Um, I'd prefer that they not, honestly. I think he could use some time to develop, but I'm just like a massive pussy when it comes to starting your young quarterback because I want to sit Drake May. I'm very happy the Falcons are sitting Penix. I want to sit Will Levis. I definitely want to sit Anthony Richardson. I want to sit Bryce Young. Like all these guys who have not panned out yet, or I don't know yet whether they're going to be good or whether they're not going to be good. My hair is an absolute mess here. See, show business, man. We got to invest in some hair gel. What are we doing here? Um, that being said, 9 points is just it's probably not enough. And the Bills, I think, will run it up on the Titans. I think they're a team that's definitely capable of doing that. Gonna be really fun to see what Cooper can do on this team. Um, is he gonna join the Bills and immediately score 30 fantasy points and be the best player in your league and you're gonna be so pumped you have him? No, probably not. Um, but I think he improves that roster so much. I talked about this on TikTok. Shout out to the TikTok followers, of which there are not very many yet, but we're working on it. We're growing it. Um, so I said that Amari Cooper is a bigger move than the Devontae Adams move for the Jets. And obviously Devontae Adams is the better receiver. Nobody's arguing that. But the Bills are a receiver away. That's a very real thing. And the Jets, I don't think are a receiver away. I think the Jets are still a long way away. So I think the Amari Cooper move is a big move. If you watched the Bills play the Texans 2 weeks ago, you know that Josh Allen went 9 for 30, and the whole time I was sitting there at least saying, we need to get this guy a receiver. I didn't think Amari Cooper was going to be on the market, and I'm glad that he was because I think, I mean, just getting away from Deshaun Watson must just feel like, the end of Shawshank Redemption for Amari Cooper. But I think that it puts the Bills in a real position to compete. It makes their offense just that much more threatening and that much more real. I think they made a mistake letting go of Stephon Diggs. And maybe they didn't necessarily make a mistake letting go of Stephon Diggs as a person. Like clearly the guy was a locker room cancer. Clearly it wasn't working out. And that's fine. They decided they need to let go of him. But I at least pretty quickly realized that this is a team that needs an alpha receiver, and adding Amari Cooper I think is going to be a big deal. Very long-winded way to say that I think they're definitely going to beat the Titans, and I think they should do it by 10 plus points. I'm more than happy to take them laying the points in this game. Cincinnati is going to Cleveland and they're a 6.5 point favorite. Do you know that Joe Burrow has never beaten the Browns? Is that still the stat? Or has he only beaten them once? Has Joe Burrow beaten the Browns? See, look, it's the top result. He's 1-5, and he's never won in Cleveland. Isn't that interesting? He's got his first opportunity to go win in Cleveland. I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to do it easily, probably by 7 plus points. Um, this Browns team, man, is just an absolute duck, just totally dead. And by duck, I mean like a duck that's been shot and is falling and trying to regain its ability to fly and struggling. That type of duck. Um, Minus Amari Cooper, I mean, what's the plan on offense? I don't know. And the plan on defense, I don't think they're going to be able to do enough to stop the Bengals. We already saw with the Giants what an elite pass rush can do to the Bengals, and they only scored 17 points in that game. And I definitely think there's reason to be concerned about that. If you're a Bengals fan or like me, you're a Bengals better in this game. But I mean, are you gonna bet on the Browns? Are you really gonna take the Browns plus 6.5? They covered last week, like, hey, maybe you should do it, but I can't bring myself to do it, frankly. I just don't think they're good enough. I don't think they're good enough of an offense, especially without Amari Cooper, to hang with a team like Cincinnati. The only way they cover this game is if the game ends, 17-13 somehow. And that would probably require a defensive touchdown for Cleveland. I just don't see it. Give me the Texans over Green Bay. I think Green Bay is getting a lot of love, and I get it. Like the team is really good, but the Texans are really good too. Um, they're a 2.5 point favorite. The Packers are against Houston, and it's in Green Bay. So I guess I get why they're a favorite. Like if this game was played at like a neutral site like college, like you might have this as dead even or Green Bay minus point 0.5 or something like that. But I think the Texans are better. That being said, they don't have Nico Collins, so should I maybe pivot? Nah, let's roll with it. Let's roll with it. Let's go. Because every time I change, here's the thing. When you change and you're wrong, it hurts so bad. It hurts so much more to change and be wrong than the feeling good of changing and being right. I'd rather go down with the ship. I saw this game. I saw Texans are a 2.5 point dog, and I said to myself, Texans lock, and I'm gonna roll with it. Am I gonna be wrong? There's a very good chance. But Green Bay, only 53% of people are taking them as a favorite, and people love their favorites. I mean, look at the rest of these. Um, I think it's very interesting that the Texans are a 2.5 point dog in this game. I think that, the public is pretty split on their opinions. Uh, you know, when it's hard to tell, take the points is a pretty good way to think about it. I don't know which of these teams is better. So why not just grab those 2.5 points? I'm in on that. And honestly, I think the Texans are better. I'd still like to see Green Bay prove it. Um, they've had some losses that are like the Packers are better than this team and they should win and they don't. So maybe it can be done. That being said, if I would not be surprised at all if they win this game. And it's one of the more exciting games of the week. So I hope it's at least close and fun and exciting. And if the Packers win, I hope it's by 2 points or less. That's not asking for too much, is it? The Colts are hosting the Dolphins. They're a 3.5 point favorite. I hope we're sticking with Joe Flacco. Let's look it up. Is Joe Flacco starting? Yep. Um, who gives the better chance to winning? Colts start QB Flacco again. This is referring to, yeah, no, that's referring to their game last week. Is Joe Flacco, he's going to start against the Titans. He's going to start against the Titans. But I'm looking for week 7. Doesn't look like we know yet. I hope it's Joe Flacco. I think that they're better with, well, I know that they're better with Joe Flacco. And I think that he gives them the better chance to win now. And I think that Anthony Richardson could use the time to develop. Maybe it's better to just have him go out there and play and throw it around. But I mean, how many times are you going to let the guy throw some boneheaded interception or dive head first into a linebacker before you say like Anthony, like you need to fucking take a breather, buddy, you know? Um, that being said, there was the play where Anthony Richardson gets basically concussed and then they put him right back in on the next play and he runs and dives headfirst into a linebacker. Like that's what you're dealing with. He's a young guy. I mean, how old is Anthony Richardson? Is he 22? Richardson age. Typing while buzzed here. 22 years old. He's a young guy. I mean, I'd like to give him the time to develop. That being said, we're against the Miami Dolphins, who have just looked absolutely awful, truly awful. And can you bring yourself to pick the sad, pitiful Dolphins over the Colts? Ugh, I don't think I can do it, guys. I want to do it. What's like I can feel it in my fingers. Like my fingers are itching to go hit Miami plus 3.5 in this game. You know what? I'm doing it. Sue me. You know what? These are maybe not the best ideas, but I think I think this game should at least be close. The Colts could win it by a field goal. Like I could totally see that. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is the week that the Dolphins figure something out. At the minimum, the Dolphins have a good run game, or the Dolphins can have a good run game at times, and the Colts have a pitiful run defense, like truly pitiful run defense. So maybe we see some Tyler Huntley read option, Raheem Mostert up the gut. Uh, what's that kid's name? Jalen something. Jalen Wright. Jalen Wright on some speed plays, some jet sweeps with Tyreek Hill. I could see it. I could see them scoring some points. And it's not like the Colts are this elite offensive, just juggernaut that's going to score a billion points on you. They're not. So Miami plus 3.5. I don't mind it. I don't mind it one bit. Is it an awful pick? Yeah, probably. Vikings, one of the only two undefeateds that remain. Our favorites, can you believe it? Our favorites against the Detroit Lions after what the Detroit Lions did last week. It's in Minnesota. They're a 2.5 point favorite, and Detroit is popular. Look at that. 33% of people on the Vikings. When there's a dog that's that popular, I just like to pick the favorite because I think too many people are getting way too fucking cute. I mean, look at tonight. The Saints were picked at 65%. What are you thinking? I don't know what you're thinking. With the Lions, I know what you're thinking. I think the Lions are a really, really good football team. But if it was free money, they wouldn't be building casinos, you know? Vegas wasn't built by handing out free money. Give me the Vikings as a 2.5 point favorite. Has Sam Darnold been a little careless with the football as of late? Yes, absolutely. Does that concern me? Yes, definitely. Is Aaron Jones hurt? I'm pretty sure he's still hurt. Yeah. But the defense has made an absolute fool of every quarterback they've faced. Minnesota has looked like an absolute juggernaut every single game. They made CJ Stroud look silly. And I hate to break it to you, Jared Goff ain't no CJ Stroud. At least not, and not in my opinion. I like the Vikings. I like the Vikings. Sue me. Am I going to be wrong? Probably. Like the Lions are the better roster. They are. But that Vikings defense has just caused so many problems for so many teams, and everybody's on the Lions. It's just tough to it's tough to jump on that bandwagon with everyone when like I just don't buy it. I'm taking the Giants as well. 3-point dogs against the Eagles. Nick Sirianni looks, the guy belongs in a mental asylum. No offense if any of my listeners know anybody in mental asylums or anything like that. I don't mean it in I guess I don't mean it in like a cultural appropriation type of way, but I mean, I don't think that the Eagles are a well-coached team. In fact, I know the Eagles are an extremely poorly coached team. And I know that the Giants are a well-coached team. The quarterback disparity is obviously there. Daniel Jones is holding the Giants back, and we all know it. But Neighbors is back, and the Giants' offense with Neighbors has looked legit. And Tyrone Tracy is a dog. I wouldn't be surprised if we find a way to beat these Eagles. And I say we, those who don't know, I'm a big Giants fan. I think we can beat the Eagles, and it's in New York. And the wheels feel like they're falling off for Philadelphia a little bit, a little bit. This isn't Super Bowl attendee Philadelphia Eagles. This is a different team. And I don't think they're that good. They haven't shown anybody yet that they're that good. I mean, remember their game against the Saints? Remember when the Saints were like 2-0 and we were crowning them the most explosive offense in football and we were like the Saints are, oh my God, like if you were going to do an AP poll, the Saints would be number one. I mean, I literally said that on this show. And we talked about how good the Saints were. And then they played the Eagles, and it was like 16-13, unwatchably boring, like just awful, awful football. Think about the Eagles last week against the Browns. They struggled to move the ball. I don't think they should be a 3-point favorite over very many teams, to be frank. I mean, they're just not that good offensively. They've struggled all year offensively. And I don't know why, because they have such a loaded offensive roster. Maybe Jalen Hurts isn't that good. Maybe the play calling's bad. Like I don't know what it's been. Um, is this a spot where they probably get right and beat the Giants by like 10 plus? Yeah, there's a chance. But I'm not fucking picking the Eagles against my Giants. And if that offends you, then you're welcome to unsubscribe from the show. That will not bother me one bit. I'm not picking the fucking Eagles. Rams host the Las Vegas Raiders, who have lost Devontae Adams now. They've been playing without him for some time. Water break real quick. Especially, I mean, it's a timely water break because we're moving into the 4 o'clock slot here. Amazing. Um, so the Rams are 6.5 point favorite. They host Las Vegas. The Raiders have been bad lately. They've been really bad lately, and they've lost Devontae Adams. That being said, I don't think Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua is playing. So do you trust this Rams offense to still go and get after it? I mean, Max Crosby might literally kill Matthew Stafford. That's a real concern. A real concern that a Rams fan should have. That being said, give me the Rams. They're better coached. It's a better roster, even with injuries. And if Puka and Kupp don't play, it's probably still fine. I think they should just be able to handle business against the Raiders. Commanders 7.5 point favorite over Carolina. There's so little to say about this game, other than remember Ron Rivera. You remember how he coached in Carolina and had that Cam Newton MVP season, and then he coached the Commanders as well. That's kind of fun. The Ron Rivera game. Uh, I mean the Commanders should absolutely boat race the Panthers. 7.5 points doesn't feel like enough, at least to me. Um, I think they're just vastly better, and Jaden Daniels is playing good football, and nobody on Carolina other than Deontay Johnson is playing good football. Give me the Commanders in a blowout. I'm not too concerned about that one. We've got the San Francisco 49ers hosting the Kansas City Chiefs in a rematch of last year's Super Bowl. And San Francisco's a 1.5 point favorite. This line has not moved an inch. Look at every other line other than this Jets line, which happens to be the one right below it. Look at every other line. This line has not moved an inch. Oh, actually, no. This we'll get to the Jets one, and we don't need to talk about that yet. Let's talk about the Super Bowl rematch, which is much more interesting than Jets Steelers. Um, the Chiefs are better. The Chiefs are the better team, right? Like we know this. We actually, in fact, they played a game last year for all the marbles where we saw that the Chiefs are better. And as a matter of fact, that was with Christian McCaffrey, and the the Chiefs have gotten better since then. I think the Chiefs have better weapons, and the Niners are missing their weapons. So maybe this is a spread in this way because the Niners are at home, but I like the Chiefs. I don't think that's an obscene thing to think. Yeah, I mean, 60% of people are going with the Chiefs. You know what I say about popular road underdogs is one I like to typically stray from. And the Chiefs are playing bad ball. Am I gonna do it? I'm flipping. Flip alert. Flip alert. If I had an editor, we do air horns or something. Flip alert. Um, I'm off the Chiefs. I'm gonna go with the Niners. I think that the Chiefs have just been playing really bad football, is the honest truth. And yes, they were better in the Super Bowl last year, like I just talked about. Yes, their roster has improved since then, and yes, San Francisco's missing McCaffrey. But the Chiefs have not been playing good football. Patrick Mahomes is not playing good quarterback. He has Daniel Jones numbers. Watch the Chiefs play. I mean, they're not that good, you know? And they are that good. Like they're probably going to win the Super Bowl again, but they're not playing clean good football. And they're going to win this game. I mean, they're absolutely going to win this game. But I don't know. I don't know what the fuck to think, honestly. Really, more than anything, I'm just pumped to watch this game. I think it's going to be an awesome football game. I'm going to root for the Niners because I'm picking them, but uh, I'd be lying if I told you I have a really strong opinion about this game. More than anything, I'm just hyped to watch it. I think it's going to be great, and I think this is just an awesome. I mean, look at this slate. It's such a good slate of NFL football. I mean, how many games already have we talked about that are going to be fun? Atlanta, Seattle in the 1 o'clock window should be a lot of fun. Green Bay, Houston should be a lot of fun. Minnesota, Detroit should be a lot of fun. For me personally, Giants, Eagles should be fun. Maybe. I think it'll be fun at least. And then Super Bowl rematch in your 4 o'clock window. Ravens, Bucks Monday night. It's going to be great. The only window that kind of sucks is Jets, Steelers. So, since we're here, let's talk about it. Jets Steelers. Uh, we've got the Steelers hosting the Jets as a 1.5 point dog. The Jets are favored in this game. Um, this is purely for me, this is purely if you start Russell Wilson, there's no way I'm gonna fucking pick you. So therefore, I'm going with the Jets. If the news breaks that they're starting Justin Fields, I will probably flip this pick, and I bet the line will change because I think everybody who knows, and that's two knows for a reason. I think everybody who knows that Justin Fields is the better quarterback in Pittsburgh. I really can't fathom thinking that Russell Wilson is the better quarterback there. Did you watch any Broncos of recent years at all? I just can't. I can't fathom thinking it. And then Justin Fields fits the identity of what the Steelers want to do. They want to run the football. They want to try to play clean, which maybe isn't necessarily Justin's strength. Like he does have some turnover issues, but they want to play clean, good football where they run it down your throat. And I think having Justin Fields gives more value to that run. I mean, if you have to worry about him pulling it, that's scary. He's been good throwing on the run this year. I think he's actually just been good. Like he's played pretty well. There's been moments, definitely for sure, where he doesn't play well, but I think he's definitely at least better than Russell Wilson. Just because I've watched the Broncos in recent years, I can't fathom thinking otherwise. I don't know. Give me the Jets in that one, and they have Devontae Adams now, so there's no more excuses. And Aaron Rodgers, you need to shut up and start winning football games, and that's so fun because either it's all Aaron Rodgers' fault that they suck or the Jets are going to be relevant and it'll be interesting. So either way, I mean, me personally, I win because I'm not a big Aaron guy. Uh, Baltimore, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's hosting. They're a 3.5 point favorite. Lamar Jackson is what is his record? 22, 23, and 1 against the NFC. Buccaneers are an NFC team. For that reason, it's probably just the Ravens. You know, it probably is just hit the Ravens and move on. But something about this Tampa Bay team, man, I just love them. I love them. They're so fun. They're so fun. And they're a home underdog in a primetime spot. It's Baker. This is awful. What I'm about to do should be punishable with prison time because the Ravens are 23-1 against the NFC under Lamar Jackson. But give me Baker and the Buccaneers to get a big, big home win against the Ravens and finally assert themselves as a team that's serious. I think this team is serious. Like I think they're a real maybe contender, which is me walking that back mid-sentence. I think they're for real though. I really do. I think we'd be singing a different tune if they hadn't completely gagged up that game against the Falcons and they were if they were 5-1, would they be as big of a dog? Would they even be a dog in this game? Maybe. And the Ravens have looked really, really good. They have the best offense in football. And Lamar's 23-1 against the NFC. Do you know who his loss is? I'll give you 5 seconds. Do 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 do. That's the Jeopardy song. Do you know it? It's to Daniel Jones and the New York Football Giants. So it's not like they're completely impenetrable. Really, more than anything, it's a fun stat in my opinion. Or maybe it's a thing that if you don't see Lamar often, he's hard to deal with, or something like that. But I think these Bucks are good, guys. I think these Bucks are better than we think they are. And despite the Ravens also being really, really good, I think 3.5 points might be too many. And I mean, you got to differentiate. If you want to win in these pick'em leagues, you got to differentiate in some way. I'll take the Bucks. I'll take them. Chargers at Cardinals. 3-point favorite are the Chargers. Um, I've said it one times. I'll say it a million times. I'm gonna keep saying it. Jim Harbaugh is gonna run a very functional franchise. They're gonna beat the teams they should beat. They're gonna lose to the teams they should lose to. Last week I made the mistake of thinking that they were not as good as the Denver Broncos. They are better than the Denver Broncos, and they went and they won that game. That wasn't coaching diff. It was just, well, frankly, maybe it was coaching diff, but they're a better team than the Broncos. And I think if you're a better team than the Broncos, you're probably a better team than the Cardinals. I think that's fair to say, right? Probably. Um, so give me the Chargers as a 3-point favorite. I think it's reasonable. I think they're better than the Cardinals. The Cardinals, it's just so interesting because they show flashes where they just look so good offensively. I mean, they've had games where they score 30, 40 points. And then they have games where they just look completely incapable on offense. And you really just never know what kind of Cardinals you're going to get. And I mean, it's definitely they're a difficult team to predict. Um, I'll tell you a story. When I was a young boy, a very young boy, in fact, I was probably 6, 7 years old, and my dad was in one of these pick'em leagues, and I would help him. I would help him in air quotes make his picks. I think we just went with whatever he thought, and I just had fun seeing what he would do. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he did listen to me every now and then. Probably just being a nice guy more than anything. I don't think he respected my football takes as a 7-year-old kid. But we had two rules. And it's interesting because I'm following both the rules in this game. First is never pick the Seahawks on the road. I don't necessarily even know why we had this rule, and I don't even know if like mathematically it was a good rule. But you never pick the Seahawks on the road. It was our rule. They somehow they just struggle to travel. Maybe it's because they're in Seattle. Maybe it's because of the home field advantage provided by that Seattle stadium. They're a vastly worse team on the road. All the more reason to pick the Falcons this week, and I'm happy with that. The other one was never pick a game with the Arizona Cardinals in it because they're extremely unpredictable. And here we are, 15, 16 years later, and both things are probably still true. The Cardinals are such a hard team to predict. You just never know what you're going to get. And Seattle on the road, you still should never pick them. So there's a fun walk down memory lane. Honestly, I haven't thought of those rules in years, but
it's fun, it's fun to actually go back and think about them today. That's all for NFL for the week. Let's move to college. It's going to be a great college football weekend. Let's start. What conference do you guys want to start in? Let's save the SEC because they've got some big, big games in the SEC. Let's start with the Big Ten. The biggest one, I think. No, there's actually two big ones. So let's do them both. First, you've got Nebraska going to Indiana. I talked about this one on TikTok a good bit, actually. Go follow the TikTok if you're not. Indiana's a 6.5 point favorite over a Nebraska team that I was really, really high on early in the season. I think this one's going to be really interesting, and I think it's going to be one you should watch. Um, Big Noon's going to be there, I'm pretty sure, which is also, always interesting. But Indiana has not been 6-0 since I think like the 1980s. And Nebraska, I think, is on the cusp of being back. In fact, I like Nebraska in this game. I think they're going to win it outright, not just spread. I think they're going to win this game outright. Um, but I'm really, really interested to see what's going to happen here. Um, Definitely two programs that have been down for a long time. Indiana, I'm not sure if Indiana really was ever a football school, necessarily. Maybe like way, way back in the day before, before the invention of the printing press or something like that. But in my lifetime, at least, they've never been football relevant. And Nebraska's, they haven't been relevant in at least 15 years. So gonna be really interesting at least to see who's gonna win this game. I like Nebraska. I didn't make a pick on TikTok, so I'll make one here. I like the Huskers. I'm a Matt Rule guy. My sister went to Baylor. I follow Baylor. I've followed Baylor football. I think Matt Rule's a really good coach. I think they're gonna find a way to win this game. Um, and I think the fun Indiana story comes to a close in this game. That being said, they are a 6.5 point favorite, so anything could happen. The other one is what I'm going to call the fraud bowl of the week. Is it's Michigan going to Illinois. Michigan's a 3.5 point favorite, and I don't believe in either of these teams. Do you believe in either of these teams? I doubt you do. Um, Michigan just looks completely incapable of moving the football on offense. Um, and Illinois, I think, is kind of a fraud. That being said, they did beat Nebraska. So why am I so high on Nebraska and not high on Illinois? I don't know. Frankly, maybe it's just the logo. I look at the Illinois logo and I think, oh, who's playing basketball? And I guess Indiana's kind of similar in that way. And maybe those logos make us not respect them the way they would. I mean, if you swapped these logos and gave Illinois the Michigan logo, they'd probably be ranked top 10 because people are Michigan Glazers. But that's just unfortunately not the reality. If you're a smaller brand in terms of football, you're gonna have to win a lot of games to get that kind of respect. And I'm not sure that Illinois deserves it. I like Illinois, I guess, in this game. I'm picking another underdog. They're at home at least, so I'd rather go with them than Michigan. And I just don't believe in Michigan at all. I really don't. I need to see something before I can believe in them. That's the Big Ten. You've got UCLA, Rutgers. UCLA's 1-5. Can you believe it? Um, USC needs to bounce back. They should be able to do it against Maryland. Iowa, I think, should handle business against Michigan State. Wisconsin's better than Northwestern, and Oregon is vastly better than Purdue. That's the Big Ten. Let's go to the ACC. Is there anything interesting in the ACC this week? Wow. No. Um, VT gets a win over BC. I actually didn't even know this game already happened. I like Duke. Literally for one reason and one reason only, and it's Malik Murphy was the backup quarterback at Texas last year, and I think he's a dog, and I'm just gonna root for him wherever he goes. Unfortunately, it's the Duke Blue Devils who I hate, but I I like them a lot better than I like Florida State. I'll tell you that much. Florida State they've got some stink on them. Uh, Miami Louisville is sort of the big one in for of the week for the ACC. I like Miami. I think they'll win the game. They keep finding ways to win these games, but I'm looking for a Miami dominant performance. I'm looking for like the Florida game level performance. I want to see something out of Miami. Show me something to believe in. Just haven't seen it in weeks. Cam Ward has been awesome. I believe in Cam Ward, but show me some defense. Like I would love, and not for like the sake of the football, but I would just love for the sake of the national conversation more than anything for Miami to win this game 37-10. Just blow the absolute doors off of them, and show that you're still that team and you had a few fluke weeks or you had some moments where you looked weak, but like reassert yourself as the power in the ACC because people like me are saying some heinous things like Clemson is better. I think Clemson is better. Um, and it'd be interesting, at least in my opinion, it would be more interesting if these two teams, Miami and Clemson, just handle business. I don't want to see SMU in like I'm sorry. I don't want to see SMU in the ACC title game. I want to see Miami versus Clemson. I want to see who's better of these two teams. They don't play each other in the regular season, right? They don't. So that's good. Um, because frankly, I mean, I've already said it. I don't want to see SMU in the ACC title game. To me, that's just it's just ridiculous. And in order to get there, SMU will have to get through Pitt, and that's about it, which is scary. I mean, they could, dude, they could make the like what happens if SMU, Clemson, and Miami all are undefeated in ACC play? I have no idea how that works. Let's root for one SMU loss. And I like SMU. They're in Texas. Good for them. I'm glad they're playing good football. I want to see those two teams play in the ACC championship. I don't think that's too much to ask for. Let's go to the Big 12, which has been just absolute carnage. In my opinion, the big one, you could call it the big one. To me, it's just the interesting one, is Colorado and Arizona. Um, I'm just excited to see T-Mac versus Travis Hunter. I want that all day. I want Colorado to only be on defense, Arizona to only be on offense, and I just want to watch those two guys go at it. I think we're going to learn a lot. I think NFL scouts particularly are going to learn a lot about those two players in this game. And I think it's just going to be it's fun to see NFL talent go against NFL talent, especially in a situation where there's not much NFL talent around, Like it's one thing when Alabama and Georgia play and it's like okay, like cool, like this is basically an NFL game. Like I go back and I watch the LSU Alabama 2019 with like, Joe Burrow and company going against, all of those Alabama players who are now known names in the NFL. It's fun to go back and be like, holy cow, this was literally an NFL game. But what's also interesting is a whole bunch of schmucks on Arizona defense or Arizona's offense, other than Noah Fafita, who I like, and T-Mac, who's a dog, going against Travis Hunter and a bunch of schmucks on the Colorado defense. Like that's going to be interesting. That specific matchup, we're going to get to watch at least probably 20, 30 reps of those two guys going against each other. And it should be an absolute ball. I can't wait to see, who's going to win more consistently of that. Other than that, relatively chalk week in the Big 12. I think Kansas State should handle West Virginia. Um, Utah, I would expect to handle TCU, but they've looked bad even with Cam Rising. Kansas, it's time to figure it out. This team was ranked preseason. Do you remember that this team was ranked preseason? And then Arizona State, Cincinnati. Cincinnati's actually a 4-point favorite in this game. Give me Arizona State in that one. I like Arizona State, and Cincinnati is playing good ball, but I think Arizona State's an underrated team. I think they're like actually good. Um, and then BYU. I can't believe like if you told me preseason BYU is going to be a 9-point favorite against Oklahoma State, I'd be like, what? But here we are. And that's what's so fun about college football. Let's get to the big dogs. Let's get to the big dogs. We've got Missouri as a 4-point favorite against Auburn. I know that's what everybody's here to hear about is, what's going to happen between these two awful colleges. Frankly, who cares? Um, Missouri, I think, is so overrated, but they'll beat Auburn because Auburn sucks. Um, let's just talk about the games that matter and the games that are interesting. The first one is Alabama at Tennessee. They're a 3-point favorite. Alabama is. I have no idea what to think about this game. You've got Alabama's offense, which has been just absolutely awesome at times. They have a defense that has been weak at times. You've got a Tennessee defense that has looked really good all year, and a Tennessee offense that's been amazing at times and just downright pitiful at times. What are we going to get from each of those four units? It's hard to know. And I think that's sort of what makes a game like this so fun is this isn't an NFL caliber matchup. Like this isn't Texas Georgia in terms of caliber of these teams. I think those two teams are clearly an echelon above these two teams, despite the fact that Alabama did beat Georgia. I think that Texas and Georgia are both better than Tennessee and Alabama. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's at least sort of where I hold those teams in my mental framework. And two ranked teams, I mean, very comparable to like LSU Ole Miss of last week, of just both of these teams are good. I'm not sure if I trust either of them, and I just can't wait to see what's going to happen. If I had to make a pick, I'd probably pick Alabama, but I could totally see Tennessee winning this game. Totally could see it. If Nico plays well and this offense looks good and they get Alabama into a shootout, who knows what's going to happen, you know? And the Alabama defense has been playing poorly, so it could totally happen. Um, the big dogs, though, the real big dogs. Texas is a 5-point favorite. I saw 3.5. I haven't seen five yet. That is, I mean, as a Longhorn fan, you can't help but be happy about that. But it's not winning the game. I cannot wait for this game. I think it's going to be so exciting. I'm so interested to see. I need a water break. Pardon me. It's late. It's 1 in the morning here. Um, I'm very, very interested to see how real this Texas team is. I think, you can look at strength of schedule and sort of say, oh, well, they played Oklahoma and they played Michigan. Like these teams were ranked and they should be good. But watch the games and not just the games where they play Texas, but watch other games of those teams playing. They suck. I don't think Oklahoma or Michigan should be ranked. I think they're both very, very bad. Um, so it's hard to really know the level of Texas. And Quinn Ewers was bad last week, guys. He was not good last week. He had bad misses early in that game, especially. Um, and that makes me nervous. I mean, which Quinn Ewers are we going to see today? I expect that he's going to have, another week of practice and shake off the rust, and he's going to look like MVP level Quinn Ewers, or sorry, college, Heisman level Quinn Ewers that we saw in the Michigan game. But if he looks like he looked against Oklahoma, Georgia might be able to punish you for that. Similarly, I think the Texas run defense really struggled against Mississippi State, who's not like, obviously not some powerhouse. And Georgia's a team that has actually struggled to run the ball this year, but they're a team that you would expect to be able to run the ball. And if they can exploit the fact that Texas is weaker at least than last year at D tackle, and if they can get a run game going, and they could then develop some play action or some passing game off of that, I mean, I could totally see Georgia winning this game. That said, I think Texas is better. I think Texas looks like the number one team in the country. Yes, it's been against bad teams, but I mean, Texas is manhandling these bad teams. And you can do common opponent. Georgia led up 31 points to Mississippi State, and Texas did not, you know? Um, that's I think, our only common opponent right now. Um, and Texas has definitely won that battle in terms of common opponents. So maybe there's something there, maybe there's not. There's no way I'm not picking Texas in this game. If you thought I was going to pick, Georgia, you're absolutely joking yourself. But do I think Georgia could win it?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm very interested to see what's going to happen. I'm rooting for the Horns in a big way, and I can't wait to see how that's going to go. Other like semi-interesting games around the conference. Kentucky, Florida, sort of interesting. Florida's sneakily turned it around. A team that I wrote off mentally at least. And they're still bad. Don't worry, like they're still very bad. But do you they're not as bad as maybe you think they are. But I like Kentucky. They've been playing good football, especially in that Georgia game. If they play like that, I think they could beat almost anybody. LSU in a letdown spot on the road against Arkansas. Can they keep doing what they know they need to do? Going to be interesting. I would definitely take the Tigers, but it's a letdown spot. There's a reason you call that a trap game or a letdown spot. You get a massive win, and now you got to go on the road to a vastly inferior opponent. You got to show up. You got to be ready. Alrighty, it's 1 in the morning here. I'm exhausted. I'm coming down from my wine buzz, and I greatly appreciate you all sticking with me through the show here. Had a great time. Love talking football with you guys. Not gonna do any baseball because I'm just sad about my Mets, guys. That's really all there is to say. I'm sad about my Mets. It's doom and gloom. The belief that once existed has turned to despair, unfortunately. Um, it's been hard to watch. It's been really hard to watch. Um, but you got to be grateful for what you had. I mean, really a surprising year. And I said I wasn't going to talk about the Mets. Now here I am talking about them. Really a surprising year. Better than we expected to be. Honestly, the more interesting baseball game tonight was the Guardians walked off the Yankees. I'm pretty sure. Um, frankly, I didn't watch it. I got home from golf and I turned on football and turned on the Mets game. I don't care about the Yankees series. The Yankees are going to win that, and it hurts me to watch. It hurts me to watch. Anyhow, I greatly appreciate you all sticking through me and watching this with what sticking with me and watching all the way through is what I was trying to get out there. Hope you have a wonderful Friday, whether you're driving to work, home from work, you're at work and you're bored, you're unemployed and you're just hanging out, you're a student, whatever. Just grateful for you sticking with me. Please like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, follow the TikTok, do all the amazing things, interact with the channel, support the channel, and I appreciate you all so much. Thank you again for watching, and I'm rambling, and I'm gonna stop right now. Goodbye.